Hi, this is Bob Iaccino coming to you from the CME Group trading floor in Chicago, talking Euro futures. That's Euro currency futures in the FX world. The April Euro contract was up as much as 0.5%, slightly over 0.5% today, but finished at 106.46, up about 23 cents. Now, a lot of that being on US dollar weakness. The dollar has basically been in a pretty flat down channel since about December 28th, the entire year. Save for movements to the top of that channel, the actual shape of the channel has still been downward sloping. And that's really a fact, or an effect of, rather, the slowdown in the implementation of fiscal policies by the Trump administration. Today we heard Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, admit that tax reforms would not get done by August. That's the first time that actual timeline has been pushed even further back from the August point that Sean Spicer, the press secretary, said would probably be the timeline. But Steve Mnuchin would have a lot more to do with it than he would, and admitted today that August is ambitious and is not going to get done. We also had the referendum in Turkey pass, giving President Erdogan sweeping powers to redo the Constitution and give the presidency much more power, one of the main points being that he'll be the president until 2029, which is longer than the original president that founded Turkey. And in the conflicts with the ethnic Kurds and the Turkish within the country, President Erdogan definitely favors the Turkish regime and the Turkish populace, as well as being very harsh with the EU. Now, the EU recently blocked any more talks giving Turkey admission to the EU, and with that, Turkey basically said they were going to open their borders to refugees to travel to the EU. Now, Turkey right now is housing about 3 to 3.5 million refugees from the various conflicts in the region, and those refugees are all trying to make their way to the EU, and the EU had basically a plan in place with Turkey to maintain those refugees and keep them within their borders while the EU tried to figure out another plan. But President Erdogan has threatened the EU, so he's seen as being anti-EU, and that actually helped the euro. Now, why would that help the euro? Because Turkey's economy is similar to Greece's, where it's in quite a bit of disdain, or rather distress, and the ECB would probably have to sweep in with a bailout of them sooner rather than later. So the idea that the new president with the sweeping powers is going to continue in a battle with the EU is actually good for the euro currency. And lastly, the French elections. New poll released just over the weekend showed that Emmanuel Macron, who is the sort of middle candidate, not viewed as a populist, not viewed as a leftist, would handily win a runoff with Marine Le Pen, who is the right-wing candidate, and will probably be the #1 vote getter in the initial runoff election, which happens April 23rd. So that's fast approaching, and the euro rallied on that news that Macron would at least be one of the last two standing, and if he was, he would win with about 62% of the vote in a runoff against Le Pen specifically, and he would handily defeat the other challengers as well. Him being viewed as economically right and socially left is a very popular thing for the euro itself. He would not want to be leaving the EU as Le Pen would. This is Bob Iaccino talking euro currency futures from the CME Group trading floor in Chicago.